There are a few problems with bloodbending, but the most prominent, aside from the whole taking people's bending away thing, is that Amon is able to use it without a full moon, which is never outright explained. In Avatar, it is established that bloodbending can only be performed under a full moon. Well, I think there's two possible interpretations. The simplest answer is that, yes, the original rules do still apply for 99% of people, but Amon's family have found or were born with a way around it. This is mentioned in the show by Sokka, who claims that Yakone is simply a, quote, unique bender. So obviously they are the exception to the rule in some way. They're like the 1% who can do it. The top 1% has too much power in waterbending, and they're taking it away from the 99%. I'm Bernie Sanders. Now, admittedly, that is a very weak answer, and the show kind of skims over it, so criticize the writing of it all you want, but considering that there have been numerous unique benders in Aang's time, I'd say this is entirely reasonable. Now, I know some people are going to hate this one, and it certainly does fall into subjective fan theory territory, so take this with a grain of salt, but a second interpretation could be that the full moon rule was just straight up wrong the entire time. It's entirely possible that Hama simply just assumed that bloodbending could only be done under a full moon because that was the only time that she ever attempted it. It's never stated that she tried it without the full moon and failed, so it's possible that it can be done without the full moon, but nobody has ever tried it, so the characters simply don't know that. Alternatively, Hama could have been lying for whatever reason, but because nobody else has tried it, they just took her at her word. It's also possible that Hama was just a weak enough waterbender that she would need the full moon's power boost to be able to do it, and assumed that that was necessary for everybody else, while more powerful waterbenders like Katara or Pakku hypothetically wouldn't need the full moon because they're just that powerful, but would not know that because they refuse to try it. Now, I do find that last one pretty unlikely given everything Hama is shown to be able to do, but it is an option nonetheless. My point is, are we really going to take Hama, a power-crazed old woman who kidnaps innocent people for fun, at her word? The only source of the bloodbending rules come from her, and it's more than likely that she is simply an unreliable narrator. She thinks those are the rules, but what the characters think isn't necessarily true, especially given the bloodbender sample size.